All right, welcome to episode 97 of the Zenspath 4-Button Podcast, inching ever forward to episode 100, which I don't know what we're going to do for that. We'll have to figure out something.
We're all going to wear party hats.
Maybe I can convince Caleb to show back up again.
Yeah, maybe.
But who I have convinced... Say what?
Face reveal.
No, Chris won't ever do that.
You'd have to pay him exorbitant amounts of money, I'm sure.
Look, Steven, I'll buy you a new phone. You just go running in there while it's streaming, and we'll just get it like, ah! We'll figure it out. But who I did convince to join me this episode, I guess we'll wait to show off Rachel because she's eating a donut. I should just go like, you talk, your mouth's full.
No.
All right, so Steven, you're polite enough not to be eating right now. I'm hungry. I know, I don't care. Steven, how you been?
Been good.
Awesome.
Haven't been gaming too hard. Life gets in the way. But
right.
What I have been doing is I did catch it finally went from CNN movies, which is weird to say, to Max. So I did watch the HQ trivia documentary, how it rise and fell so quickly.
Oh, wow.
And how they just didn't have the money to give out all those prizes. So they tried to just raise money for it.
Before we jump into that, because I was just doing the intros. Oh, just being polite. How are you doing?
Distraction.
Also joining Rachel.
I'm here.
He gave me the title card, people. He said, "What you been doing?"
I said, "How you been doing?"
It's
technically
Friday.
Different.
We're all tired. We don't have our brains on. You know,
that's what everyone is here for. Is just us messing up. It's great.
It's all right. We'll be okay. We're only 2 minutes in. Right. How bad can this get?
So bad.
Well, you can find me. We're not there yet.
Skips the entire episode.
Just gets up, just turns his camera off, and walks. Okay, well, now that we've got introductions out of the way in the smoothest way possible, we'll jump into what we've been doing. We'll talk about that real quick. And just because, the ball's been going, Rachel, no, I'm sorry. Steven, what have you been
I've been up absolutely to? Nothing. I've been sitting here for the past 3 hours. No, I did catch the HQ trivia documentary because I wanted to watch it, but it didn't have a streaming platform that I didn't want to pay for because I didn't know how I was going to watch it on CNN movies or CNN documentaries. I was like, okay, just come to a streaming platform. So eventually I went to Max, got to see it there. It was just really funny to see, two tech people just go through this kind of whirlwind where they did so much for like Twitter and such that they were like, oh, we did such great things. And and Vine, sorry. They did so much great things with Vine, and then they sold it, and then Vine became garbage. This is pre-TikTok.
Oh, that is
we have another idea.
I haven't heard in a while.
We can do a trivia game. And it was great at first, but then it's like, how do you get the money? Can't. Don't have any more money left. So it was very interesting to watch that. On the gaming side, though, I finally received my physical copy of Double Dragon Rise of the Roguelike. It is very interesting because Chris has been playing it by himself when he got it gifted to him on Steam, but then we played co-op together. And we took a different path because, like roguelike likes to do, when you finish a stage, the other stages adjust themselves to get harder.
Right.
So there's 4 stages, and as you finish one, you see that they hired more cronies in the other 3 stages. But what happened was, by the time we got to the 4th stage, what to him was just a regular boss that walks around, was this like huge like spiritual being we had to fight instead. And he was just like, what's going on? And I was like, I guess this is their final form. And he's like, well, that makes me want to play the game like multiple times to see what each person's final form is. And I was like, well, that's pretty neat. Game works out pretty well, having to buy stuff between each stage and such. So I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Because I thought about picking it up today. I actually had it in my hand. It's like $30 for a physical copy for the Switch. And I was debating on it but that's good to hear. I've been kind of
try to
wondering how
play
that is.
co-op as much as possible because it'll get brutally hard if you're by yourself. It's not online, it's local, so again, you need somebody there to.
Otherwise, I'd play with you guys. That'd be great, but I can't because we don't live anywhere near each other on the actual physical plane. On the internet, we're all together. In the real world, no. We are a good distance from each other. Rachel, you're actually the closest one. You're still hours away.
5.5 on a good day, 7 on a bad.
Yeah. And there's a lot of bad ones going down there, Florida.
Depending on which way you take. But if you take 98 and then take that to like 20? No.
I think 20.
Yeah, 20. No.
No, 20 I go north, I think.
No. Yeah, 20 goes north. You could take like 20 and then take that to the interstate. But if you're going the back way and you're taking 98, a good portion down there, you can get there in 5.5 hours, regardless of what time of day you leave, because it's the back roads instead of the interstate.
And 20 is east and west because 231 is north and south. The odds are north and south. The evens are east and west. Mm-hmm. So
I just don't
somebody
remember,
commented on that. I'd be like,
I just don't remember what like you could take 98 like a fairways and that turns into like it's a 6.
I just know I'll be damned if if I really want to get well actually'd about highway.
I know somebody somewhere is going to be like, actually, but
it's not actually a highway. It's more of a state road, and that's
cheaper to take a plane.
Lord. So what else have you been up to, Rachel?
Well,
what you been doing?
I haven't been on the show in a hot minute, but I watched all of Good Omens season 2. I'm not going to spoil it, but it made me emotional in a way that I have not been since episode 18 of the last season of Supernatural. Which, if you've watched the show and you know what's in that episode, you'll get some context just from that. But if you haven't, that's okay. I made some really colorful commentary on my Threads account that was a little unhinged, but it actually like made a lot of my friends laugh, and they were like, "Oh my God, Rachel, you're right." And I was like, "Of course I'm right." And I'm like, "Now we got to wait until season 3, whenever the hell that's going to happen." But you know, gaming wise, I've been replaying the PS4 version of Spider-Man.
Nice.
Insomniac Spider-Man. With the correct face, the first face, not the second face. The second face makes this weird, creeps me out.
I was about to ask, I was like, why the PS4? Never mind.
Yeah.
She wants that original non-child face.
Yes. And now I know when I play the Miles Morales game, and because I think he's in there very briefly. And then when I play the new one, I'm just gonna have to grin and bear it unless Insomniac takes pity on my poor ass. Sorry.
Now I wonder if someone has taken the PC versions and modded it and just made everybody have that original face. Just put it on everyone.
I literally, Insomniac, if you're listening to this, I am begging you, put an option in there to have the other face, for the love of God. I can't be the only one that hates it. Like, I can't.
Make it paid DLC. You'll get money from her.
Yes,
you will.
Yes. Oh my God. I will buy that like so quickly. I don't want Tom Tolland. But like, I know why they did it, but I still think it was a dumb decision. But then once I finish that, I'll play the Miles Morales game because I haven't played that.
So good. It's
short, as what I've heard, but
which is fine, but it's so good.
And then of course I've just been doing a lot of reading, a lot of just reading books and stuff and trying to get through my TBR very slowly, I might add. And then the other day, a lot of the visual novel games were on sale on Steam, and they're still on sale until.
So fair warning, Steven, get comfortable. There's a list.
Yeah. So I got Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane, which is kind of like a spiritual successor to the Ace Attorney games. I got both Vampire the Masquerade visual novels. So I got Shadows of New York and Coteries of New York. And I got the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and then I also got like the Ace Attorney trilogy because those were on sale for like super cheap. I also got like they were doing a bundle with the like nonary games. I don't know if you guys played those. They were on DS. One was 9 persons, 9 hours, 9 doors.
No, I missed out on that one.
Yeah. And then AI Somnium Files is kind of a spiritual successor to the nonary games and Zero Time Dilemma.
I've seen that around the house because I think Jeremy has it.
Yeah, so I got all that because they were on sale, and I like visual novel games. They're not like they're fun. They've got some puzzliness in it. It's not like super time intensive, but they tell a good story and they're fun to experience. And sometimes, like in the Ace Attorney games, you get a very fun localization team that puts just weird stuff into it. So,
right. Now, have you played Great Ace Attorney before this?
No, I actually have it for the Switch.
It is great. The first one is good. It really picks up on the second and continues on.
But I do have it for the Switch, but I just haven't like played it yet. And I was like, this would be a really great game to stream. And as much as I love like streaming my Switch, it's just easier to stream PC games. Typically, it really is.
Really,
at least for me, it is. Like it's not like there's technical issues or anything like that. It's just I don't have to go through and
I was like, I know what capture card you have.
I know
it to you. I know it works.
It's not that it. And also. Mm-hmm. Since all the updates went through with like Streamlabs and all that, it was kind of fun getting it to work again. Yeah, but I got it to work. I've been streaming my Spider-Man game, my PS4.
That's true.
I put it in the PS5 because it's literally it's sitting right here, just out of sight. So, and my Switch is right there, but I don't So I'm kind of lazy when it comes to hooking up my consoles to stream with. Like, one of the reasons why I didn't stream as much, obviously, when like I got really busy at work, is because I had to then drag my backdrop from behind my desk in the room that I had at the other house into the living room to then hook up my laptop to then play whatever on stream from those consoles there. And I didn't want to do that. So I was like, no, I'm lazy. But now I have everything in one room, of course, and all my consoles are laid out over here and you can't really see them. But I'm like, I could run a cable to do this and I could do that. But I'm like, I don't really want to right now. It's just simpler if I just stream from these two consoles. So
it bothers me that they put some of those titles in the visual novel category.
Like what?
All the 999, the whole non-trilogy, and the anything Ace Attorney, because I always feel if you can game over, it's not a visual novel. You can't like suddenly like rip off the end of your book and be like, I can't finish that book.
I mean, but it kind of is because of the style of the way the game is played with graphics and all that, and it's done, with a lot of.
I always put it into the adventure game category because it's like there's multiple endings, there's different paths.
Welcome to Minutia Talk, where we make every little nitpick.
Well, I mean, yes, but
I love it. I'm just laughing.
Well,
Smash Brothers is a party game.
No. Oh no.
No. But so the answer is, well, yes, it does have adventure game elements, but in the sense that there's a game over, but there isn't any branching paths in that your branching path is if you don't take the correct path, you get game over. So there's really only one way to
objection.
Play it.
Here's my bit of proof here. Yeah. Rachel, was it actually listed in a graphic or visual novel sale? Like, is that what it's called?
Yeah. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just accept that. Some guy put together that sale.
Yeah, no. You go into the store right now on the main damn page. It literally says, it says Steam Visual Novel Fest, August 7th through August 14th.
Well, you can write anything for Steam. You can pay your game $10,000, whatever.
I love stirring the shit. I'm just stirring the shit.
if
and
you
letting
like,
y'all fight it out.
but if you really like the Ace
Let them
Attorney
fight.
games and you want something to turn it on its head,
Uh-huh.
look up the visual novel of Avian Attorney.
Oh, I already knew you were going to say that. And you know what game is not on sale? That game.
And they just came out with, and this is going to sound crazy.
That might be proof on his side of the argument then.
And they just came out with Stray Gods, which is a role-playing musical.
I saw something about that. The animation
good
looks
things
great.
about that.
And it was written by the person who created the setting for Dragon Age.
That's cool.
Okay.
And I saw some of the people like Laura Bailey were in it, and I was just like, well, I probably have to check it out.
But if you liked Ace Attorney, Stephen, you should check out Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane, because the music in it is so good. Like literally, the first review on the page is came for the music, stayed for the fun dialogue. Like
that just sounds like if Blade got a parking ticket, that's the guy he has to call for his lawyer.
I can't believe that they're doing a visual novel sale. In quotations, everybody. But they don't have Avian Attorney and they don't have Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law.
Oh, that's I have that one on the Wii. It's such a great game. All right,
shame.
well, now that we've had our lovely minutia,
how you been doing?
yeah. Nobody ever asks me how I'm doing. I just kind of assume and go with it.
It's understood. It's implied.
It's understood.
It's implied.
I'm okay. So I finally rolled credits on Pikmin 4 and I absolutely loved the game. And I will say there is a whole nother game afterwards. So once you roll the credits, you go into a whole nother one with a different character. And there was a moment during the end credits, because it's an actual video and stuff. I won't say who. I just went, oh, there's that dumbass. And I still have yet to find out if anything else happened with that. I'm like, he would get himself stuck. Like, good job. So, highly recommend it. It's actually kind of maybe one of my favorite Pikmin games out of all of them, which is saying a lot because I really enjoyed 1 and 2. 3, I had a blast with I really liked the mechanics, and that was the start with the motion controls that I liked. With the strategy stuff, like obviously 1 and 2 on the Wii did that first, but yeah, Pikmin 4, I wouldn't say game of the year type thing, not my contender, with this year being a banger year for a lot of games, but highly recommend it. Now, what did come in, and I will hopefully be starting more soon. I kind of began it just to see how it was, but my physical copy of Return to Monkey Island finally arrived. Yes, thank you, Steven. You brought up mine are on the shelf. I can't get to them right now.
Thank you for supporting one of my favorite franchises.
Oh, I wanted it immediately. I love that series.
I beat it digital first, and then I was like, I'm getting a physical.
I wanted to wait. I wanted my physical cartridge. Like, I can wait for it to come in. And I didn't realize it would get delayed because of Boy and His Blob. So I started it. I'm still playing as the kids. I haven't got out of that spot yet. But, man, they have definitely got a lot of voice acting in this one, which is great. Like, everything's line. Like,
yeah, I don't see lines. What the vitriol all over that art was.
No, I like it.
I like it.
It's concise. That's the big thing. It's like, okay, I don't mind it being different art, but it actually is concise with the entire world and everything going on. So that's fine for me. So I'm looking forward to that. A Boy and His Blob Retro Collection I just wanted to mess around with, because the original NES game was fun, but you had to
brutally hard.
Yeah, brutally hard. And then the Game Boy one is not any easier. So I only got it because I have the other Boy and the Blob games. And I just wanted to finish my set. But what I have been getting into a lot lately is I'm all about that pinball competitions again. Damn it, I want that. He's showing Demon's Tilt, and I'm a man of jealousy right now.
It's becoming really hard to get, so I was like, I better buy it.
Yeah, I need help me find that. I'll pay for it. I don't care.
It was on Amazon for $50 for me, so I was like, I'll take it.
Damn it, I might have to do that today. Because I'm trying to collect pinball games. But we had a arcade open up here in town, which I think I mentioned a little bit before. And they have a whole pinball selection. And one thing, they have a lot of the Stern pinball tables. And what I really like is all their newer tables, they have it where you can make an account, and it has a little camera built into the corner of the table that your account will generate a QR code, and you just put that QR code over it, and it automatically signs you in on the machine, tracks your high score. You get achievements, so you know what stuff you're going for on the table, which is great. And then they have a board, like a TV screen set up, where it will have your icon, your name, and your score on each of the tables for people to compete. So some of my coworkers have been going in for pinball, and I'm like, hey, this is going to be a friendly competition, but I will kill you all. And I just look at them like that and just walked away, and they're just like, okay. So I'm sure I'll hear from HR. It's pinball. I take it seriously, but we're having a lot of fun with it. But as a bonus, Star Trek The Next Generation pinball table, which one of my favorite ones I played back at the Pacific Pinball Museum way back in the day, is coming to Pinball FX on August 24th. So that's like a little bonus news I wanted to sprinkle in there. Yeah. And lastly, I have 2 games that I've paid for last night. I spent like $170 on games, and I only bought 2 titles last night. I have started up Baldur's Gate 3 on my Steam Deck. Runs really well. I get a pretty consistent 30 FPS, stuff set on low, but it's playable and enjoyable. I'm going to see how it runs on my computer here, which is rocking an old school 1070 Ti, so this should be fun. But I'm enjoying it. I do have a little bit of criticism with their opening area. They don't really clarify a lot of the controls that much. I don't know if maybe I just missed a spot where that was the option and went by it on accident or what. But it kind of came to the point of feeling like, hey, you should have already played the previous ones and already known, which is questionable design, but whatever. But I'm enjoying it otherwise once I figured it out and talked with George and we were working on it. But beyond that, I also went ahead and bought the collector's edition or digital collector's edition of Starfield. So I wanted to get it anyways, but I'll get it 5 days early. And what I'm going to try and do is get back into streaming again. So I'm going to be playing Starfield when that comes out. So I might have to see if any of y'all want to join me to goof on it or watch it, because I'll be playing it through Discord while streaming it as well. I'm kind of figuring that stuff out.
I would love to heckle you.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Fun heckling is great. It's when it gets kind of nasty that there's a problem, but, you know.
We'll get little silhouettes of ourselves.
I would be here for that.
Pointing at the screen, be like, "Oh,
we'll mystery science theater you."
Oh yeah, I will always welcome that. That'd be great. So yeah, we'll be playing some Starfield on here when that comes out. Of course, you know, you can name your ship. It will be called the Zenspath. I mean, what in the hell else would I call it? We shall see. All right, now that we've spent almost 25 minutes just BSing on what we've been doing, let's talk about the news, shall we?
The news.
I need to eventually get some like music for the middle, because all I have right now is the stupid drums and an intro, so I can just be like, and that's not a really good way to go from one segment to another.
Sometimes the news is a joke, though. Sometimes the news is a punchline.
There we go. Oh, I clicked on the wrong spot. I went to click it and my mouse had moved over.
It was just the universe trying to prevent you from hitting the button.
It was the podcast going, don't do this again.
Don't do this.
Stop it. So anyways, Rockstar has announced a port of Red Dead Redemption, but only coming out for Switch and PlayStation 4 on August 17th.
That's weird. Also, I'd like to point out that it says Red Redemption.
Why? Oh my god! I thought I typed Red Dead. And
so when I was reading this, by the way, when I was reading these notes, I literally was like, "Oh, are they making a not mature rated version of Red Dead Redemption? Are they changing all the blood to green to get below a mature rating?"
It's not Red Dead Redemption. It's Red He's Sleeping Redemption.
Red nap time.
Yeah, Red They Went to the Farm Redemption. That's the E10 Plus version that's coming out for Wii and Wii U later. So a physical edition is coming later in October, and it does seem like the game and its DLC will be on the cartridge, which because they've released the box art and it does not say anything about a download code. We also have learned in the past that could mean jack squat because it could still happen. So we will see.
It also sounds like only the original Xbox version is online, though.
It is. It will include the Undead Nightmare DLC, which alone is immediately worth buying because the way they handle a zombie apocalypse in the Old West when they are about as uneducated as some people are really trying to be now with science and medicine. And, you know, they show how stupid they are with it, and it's absolutely great. So there's no Xbox version, but that kind of makes sense because you could get the original disc or buy it digitally, and that is fully backwards compatible on Xbox One and Series X. I've been playing it on there with my version of Undead Nightmare, and it plays in full 4K. It is only 30 FPS. People try to say 60, but no, it's still 30, which is fine. But there's no PC or direct PS5 edition. It's just going to be PS4 to PS5 backwards compatibility, and then the Switch one. The kicker for a lot of people is the fact that there is no multiplayer, which honestly, as much as they have people for Grand Theft Auto Online, Red Dead 2 Online, and stuff like that, they're probably not wanting to compete with it or have people split off, but you think they could get more people in with the Switch version. And then the fact this is a $50 port. It is enhanced in regards to kind of cleaning up some stuff and the lighting and things like that, but it is not, it's basically just a clean port of the game. And that will be, as a nice little hint, part of our big question this week in regards to that topic. But so with this one, you know, I think for Switch users, it's not bad. Yes, it's 50. That's kind of steep, but you are getting that entire both games for a market that never had it. For the PS4 side, it seems a little high. Like, I know they can't do backwards compatibility because Sony can't, you know, really do backwards compatibility with PS3 titles. So that's kind of what bites them in the ass for that one. But make it 40 or something, maybe, you know, because you're just pressing a disc anyways. It's not like you have the cartridge tag.
Game of the Year edition with both that on Xbox for $20 or less. So yeah,
I think it's like 30 right now.
Probably now because everybody's buying.
Well, it was 30 before, I think, but that's still a good bit cheaper. But as for the online, the other thing is Xbox still helps support the servers for that stuff, which is why, like, after the new deal, go ahead and get ready to drink. A lot of Call of Duties now have get his Coke out.
Got a bigger bottle there for all that talk.
There you go. They have a lot. They brought back a lot of their online servers because Microsoft helps manage those. So I think that's why Red Dead is still going for online for Xbox. They would have to bring out, I don't know if they just bring out new servers or connect it to bring back the old ones or what, to get the PS4 version to work. And then let alone you're trying to do Nintendo Online stuff. Who knows what that's going to do.
So
you're not excited to play as Nicki Minaj in Call of Duty?
Do I have to drink now? Like, because you said it? Like, I need to go get a drink? I don't know.
So when I read the bottom of this part about, you know, Red Dead Redemption not coming to like PS5 or PC, I was just like, my first thought was, well, technically you could just put the PS4 disc in the PS5 and you're playing it on PS5. Graphics aren't going to be as good, I guess, but who cares?
That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing basically with the 360 version on Xbox. So yeah,
exactly. So
yeah, that's what Sony said directly in their tweet. They're like, it's coming. You can play it on your PS5 via backwards compatibility.
Yep. And so, like, then with like PC, I guess my thought would be, I just don't want people to mod it.
Yeah, it's just people are already playing it via emulators. They might as well get people to officially play it and pay them money. Like,
yeah, because
but if they already have it and playing it via, you know, emulators, are they going to buy it? Who knows?
Because you know,
somebody
the modding thing would be funny if that's the reason. Because just today, Rockstar announced that they basically brought in two of the most popular Grand Theft Auto 5 role-playing communities, and they're going to somehow incorporate that type of features in Grand Theft Auto 6 because they want to allow some kind of mods that allow a role play server, because they said that the second, third, fourth, fifth life it's giving that game, they can't ignore it anymore, and they're like, we're gonna hire these communities to help us out.
Yeah,
To
the
create
amount
a
of
role play
money
server.
they've made off that game is sickening at this point. Like, good lord, I'm surprised they're ever making another game. They're just gonna valve it. Like, oh, we've done what with Steam, made so much money. We don't need Half-Life 3. We don't need Left 4 Dead 3. We don't need anything with a 3, except for the probably $3 billion they get every day. All right, so yeah, we'll get back to that topic later on. Hint, hint. So now we're going to talk about the Pokemon Presents that happened on August 8th. And this is going to be probably the shortest one because, as I said afterwards, this could have been an email. This whole event could have just been an email.
They did it for the views.
Yeah, I guess. So we have new Nintendo Switch Online games available now, which is great. Pokemon Stadium 2 for the N64, and then Pokemon Trading Card Game for Game Boy Color. Which that was a really good game back in the day. I still have the cartridge, and I actually did play it a lot. It was the only time I ever really got into playing Pokemon, for the card game at least. Beyond that, we're getting the Get Mew and Mewtwo event added to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which there's a code you can get to get some of the characters. Beyond that, it was a lot of talk about some of the card playing tournaments, mobile games, some Pokemon Sleep stuff. They went a little bit more into the DLC that we covered on previous shows that's coming out later this year. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to talk about from this Pokemon event, or was it just...
I will say,
yes, go for it.
As a bonus that people who love their Pokemon games will love to hear, is that in Pokemon, the trading card game, the card pop function works with Switch Online.
That's right.
It originally needed infrared and a bunch of other qualifications to even get those like exclusive cards. Now you can just get them as long as you're playing with somebody.
Okay, because I remember it. I'm trying to think if this was it was not a Game Boy Color only game. So I guess people that only had normal Game Boys weren't actually able to use that feature.
Yeah, because you had to use the infrared port on the top of that Game Boy Color. So.
Oh, yeah.
I only had a Game Boy Color at that point, so I also knew nobody else that was playing it, so I probably never even tried it.
I thought that was neat because people were streaming it, and then their minds were blown because they're like, card pop works. And I was like, well, okay, that's probably the best news from the Pokemon Presents. I was hoping Stadium 2 would have some kind of, I don't know, some way of bringing in some Pokemon of your own, but what are you going to do?
It's rentals only, I think, just like Stadium 1 was, which I think is the biggest disappointment. Stadium 1 and Stadium 2 had so much potential for that. Something. All right. So moving on from that, we're going to go from Pokemon being boring as hell to Capcom losing their damn minds.
Predatory.
Yeah.
Is that new, though? Is that new? Is it really new with them losing their minds? They do it every couple of years, you know?
Yeah, that's true. This seems like a weird marketing deal gone horribly wrong. So Capcom is charging $60. That's 60 for a game that only costs about $60-$70 to get the 4 Ninja Turtle costume skins for your character. They're not even fightable. Like, you can't use them except for on your custom avatar. So it has to be an avatar battle or the single player mode. Just to be, it's like $15 for each of the turtles. But if you buy them individually, you have to buy the coins that you have to buy more of an amount than the $15. So you'll buy them and have a weird amount left over. Or you can get $60 worth of it and have the exact amount to get all 4 of the turtles. And like, just why? I originally saw these and I heard the $15. And I was like, well, it's a little pricey for all 4 costumes, but I might do that. Why not? I'm a huge Ninja Turtles fan. And then I saw the $60 and went, no, I know when to walk away.
They should have just had it play over the audio in the Battle Hub, like $15 for a costume, $15.
I'm going to clip that. I need to learn how to do that anyways. Marketing stuff. So if you go over to bit.ly/Zenspath Discord to join us on our Discord, you'll see some of our stuff on our lovely meme channel. Once again, thank you, Rachel, for that idea.
You're welcome.
It's been the most popular channel on that entire damn thing. I found a picture somebody had posted on Twitter. I refuse to call it anything else. Of a dude wearing the Ninja Turtle costume, like the actual Leonardo, and then a guy next to him who made himself look as best he could like a Ninja Turtle. And it was like, if I'm not paying for that damn DLC could be an actual person, this is it. Like just standing right next to it. Did a pretty good job though. Their turtle was actually not half bad. Like it's obviously not going to win any costume contests, but it was kind of funnier to me almost, and it's free. So I don't know. Anybody else have any thoughts on this? Because it's just a ridiculously overpriced.
I kind of knew that something like that was going to happen because when I was going through what I could earn or get with fighter coins and these coins and those coins, is you can't play certain arcade games unless you can afford to buy it with your currency. So like I
really,
so you can't play Legendary Wings from Capcom because it's locked under this. Oh, get enough fighter coins or get high enough in rank to afford to have this arcade game. And I'm like, you're locking arcade games.
Yeah, it should look and be like, hey, you've already bought this on the Capcom Arcade Collection. Maybe we should just let you use it.
We found save data. That would be great.
Right. Because, you paid us for this game. God, that's stupid. On a happier note, I forgot to mention earlier, we did go see the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem on Saturday. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was really funny. The Ninja Turtles being voiced by actual teenagers worked out so well because they felt like it was actually teenagers doing stupid teenager stuff, especially when they were filming themselves throwing sharp weapons at each other, and that led to calamity. That was just great. So yeah, go see that movie. It was great. All right. So going from a movie we did want to see to a bunch we don't know if we can afford to see anymore. Disney Plus and Hulu have both announced, because it's the same company now, they're seeing price hikes again. Disney Plus without ads, mind you, will go from $10.99 a month to $13.99 a month. And then Hulu without ads will go from $14.99 to $17.99 per month.
But the question is, what is the cost of the bundle? Have they announced what the bundle of Hulu Disney Plus is going to cost?
Yeah, are they even still doing the bundle? Are they going to change that?
Yeah, that's my question, because if these when these price hikes happen, I might just I don't know if I can call them and be like, can I have two separate subscriptions to these two, and I don't know how to help. That's literally
Rachel. I could see you just be like, I've practiced for so long to the actual pirate's life. Like, let's just.
No, I'm literally just going to call Disney Plus like their whatever
Dulu
service, and I'll be like, help me bundle this so I don't have to like cancel one of my accounts and lose all my watch data and all my watch history and all my library stuff. Please help me. And they'll be like, okay. Or they'll be like, no. And I'll be like, okay, go die in a fire. Or something like that. I don't know. But the only reason I have Hulu is for What We Do in the Shadows. That's the only reason I have it.
We're about halfway through the new season, and it's been great.
I've watched the first, I want to say, I think I'm on I watched the first 3 episodes. I want to say I have not had the time to watch the next 2.
I think there's only 6 available, maybe. So I think we're about only 3 episodes in.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's been really good.
It's very good.
But mind you, Disney is still not working to use any of this money that they're begging to get to actually pay their writers, actors, visual effects people, and more a fair wage, nor are they willing to negotiate because they're just being dicks about it. So Yeah, not a good look for them to be asking for more money when they can't even pay out the money that they could easily afford.
Not that this has anything to do with the other, but the park's attendance at
That's 2.
Disney World
Uh-huh.
is not great right now. So
I can imagine. Lovely DeSantis is probably not helping with that either.
I'm just gonna not talk about it. That's all.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say the guy's a jackass. All right. I'm not hiding that. So, all right. So, moving from one really rich company doing really weird things, we're gonna move on to another rich company doing really weird things. So, Microsoft has shortened the length of time allowed for their Game Pass $1 trial. Before, it was, you always hear about it, like you can get Game Pass for 1 month for $1. Now it's like you can get Game Pass for 2 weeks for $1. And this is just before Starfield hits next month. So that can't be a coincidence.
No, it's not.
No.
I can tell you it's not, because they don't want people, they know that they're going to get an influx of people needing, like, Game Pass or wanting Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
And they want all the money, not just some of the money. They want all the simoleons.
Yeah, they gotta pay up to Activision.
I'll play the part of PR. We at Microsoft believe now, with the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, that the value for Game Pass is bigger than it's ever been, and the value you're getting highly exceeds the amount you're getting through your free trial or through your 2-week trial.
Right. The contents and the sale itself will actually show you the value of this deal, so we don't need to continue this lower cost version for that, longer period of time. You could just jump right in and pay us money. I mean, play the games. So yeah, that's kind of a bit on the nose there, Microsoft, like the $1 thing. I'm still waiting for them to do a family plan. Like, if you want me to get Game Pass, there better be a damn family plan available. I will pay extra to do that, so that, the at least 3 accounts we would need for my house, I'm not buying 3 of those. That's a lot of money. So, All right. Oh, look at that. Another company that makes a lot of money doing something really weird. I'm seeing a trend this week. Nintendo has submitted 32 patent requests in regards to mechanics from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom from July 10th to August 4th. I'm kind of curious if they're trying to maybe stave off the run of copycat games that sprung up after Breath of the Wild. But some of these mechanics include Ultra Hand, Fuse, NPC abilities, loading screens, and more in regards to how these work in their more unique ways. They may be kind of overreaching to see what they're trying to get what they're wanting to preserve, while specific ones having. I completely messed up that. Hey, talking to your dog. There we go. I just saw Rachel like waving it. I guess your parents came in.
Yes.
That was funny.
No, they don't quite understand that they can just, text me.
We need to get one of those like recording lights for your room. Just, of course, that probably like a bat signal. Oh, come in, the light's on.
Here's the thing. Even though I close my door, like this door, it can't lock. It's a really old door. And this little one here that's in my arms, this little doggy, knows how to open the door to this room. So I'll be in the middle of streaming, and all of a sudden the door will just open. And I'm like, what the? And I'll just see the dog come in, and I'm like, how? Do you have opposable thumbs now? No, she's just real smart.
Fair enough.
You're real clever. Huh?
So what I was trying to say originally, they may be overreaching to see what they can get while trying to preserve the more specific ones by having smaller ones struck down. I don't know if that's actually going to be the case or not. But this kind of reminds me back when Namco got the patent on playing a game while waiting for a loading screen to pass, which stopped anyone else from using that kind of actually fun mechanic for the longest time.
I don't necessarily think that's quite it. I think that might be part of it, but they also have they officially confirmed that we're not getting DLC?
No, they haven't said one way or the other.
So
all we know is we're getting Amiibo.
So that might also be part of it too. And then also they sometimes they just put in they're really honestly supposed to put in patents before the game comes out in regards to mechanics and
right.
like stuff like that. You want to know why I know this?
Yes.
You know why I know this. Because this is what Square did before Final Fantasy 15 came out. This is how I knew what the battle system was going to be. You're supposed to do it before the game comes out, but also it's smart to do it after, because then people can't like know what you're producing. So it's smart, but also it's dumb.
I'm guessing Nintendo watched the Sony showcase that had that blatant ripoff of Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom, where they were placing buildings by using your hand. And I don't know, you already have two games which are Breath of the Horizon games, where the main character uses a bow that slows down, gets around with a glider, and has a hook shot. So I guess Nintendo's like, all right, we don't want Horizon 3 to come out and suddenly she has a robotic arm, so we're going to put this to stop right now.
Well, some of the stuff they were putting the patents in for were like, if somebody gets onto an object, like a vehicle, and that vehicle's movement is transferred to the character, not via physics, but they just make that character's movement equal its movement on there. It's basically just a way of handling the physics of moving object. That's kind of what they're getting at, which is a great mechanic, but I also worry, is that going to kind of stifle other developers? Not so much trying to like steal the ideas, but how many games come out with a mechanic going like, oh, this worked out really well. Other games then use that same similar mechanic, because you can't normally put a patent on play styles, and use that and kind of move on with it. Like if we want to really get picky, technically a lot of the stuff from Tears of the Kingdom was also done in Banjo and Kazooie nuts and bolts for the building mechanic and, sticking things together and all of that.
So I remember when we first saw that trailer, and I think my legit reaction, like almost immediately when we were doing commentary after, I went, what in the nuts and bolts was that?
Friendliest way to bring nuts into a conversation. Good job.
You're welcome.
It was also a rare dick joke for nuts and bolts.
Yeah, at least they didn't try to trademark the word monster.
Oh, yeah.
Pokemon Company after you.
or the energy drink. I don't know. Both of them are suit crazy. Oh, so who knows? All right. Well, speaking of lawsuits, this is actually going really well. We're going to go talk about a video game related lawsuit that's going to be coming up, because Daniel Ackerman, Gizmodo editor-in-chief, is suing Apple and others associated with a 2023 Apple TV Plus Tetris movie for copyright infringement and unfair competition, among other things. I found this kind of interesting when I saw it the other day. I mentioned it a little bit to you, Stephen, but I really wanted to talk about it. So Daniel states that Apple, the Tetris company, the film producers, and screenwriter Noah Pink copied, quote, the exact feel, tone, approach, and scenes, end quote, from Ackerman's 2016 book, The Tetris Effect. Daniel had been in contact with the Tetris company while he worked on the book, but was warned that he would be sued by them if he tried to pursue TV or film adaptations of his work. Daniel had written the book in the framework of a Cold War spy thriller, which the Tetris movie used, as well as specific things he had written in there, like the guide turning out to be a KGB agent. This fact was based on speculation by Daniel, not historically guaranteed fact, but was used anyways in the production. The suit states, quote, Ackerman's book took a unique approach to writing about the real history of Tetris, as it not only applied the historical record, but also layered his own original research and ingenuity to create a compelling narrative nonfiction book in the style of a Cold War spy thriller. End quote. So I wasn't aware of any of this. I'd kind of heard about the book years back, and I haven't watched the Tetris movie yet.
Great movie.
I thought they were kind of attached, and ends out
They're not.
they might be in a very bad legal standing for Apple and them.
Well, so what really gets me is there's Apple Plus.
So you're saying in a few days we're going to see Apple has settled this outside of court.
Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, when people have dumb money, other companies are more
kind of in the same vein. Epic Games lost their lawsuit against Apple, so Epic Games cannot have their own transaction system within Fortnite.
Oh, I thought they had won part of that and we're waiting for them to implement it. So, damn.
Yeah, the latest one I heard today is they lost.
Okay, so when people have dumb money, so what really gets me is the Daniel had been in contact with the Tetris company when he worked on the book and was warned that he would be sued by them if he tried to pursue film or TV adaptations of his work. Did Apple get sued by Tetris for doing literally that? Like literally?
Well, no, here's the thing. The Tetris company then turned around after issuing that and made it with Apple. So he was working and talking with the Tetris company while he did the research and wrote his book. The Tetris company told him, we're not going to let you do anything with this book. If you try and make it to, option off the movie or TV rights, we're going to sue you.
But so the question is did someone at Apple get this idea and contact Tetris, or did Tetris go, hey, you got dumb money, we got an idea?
Either way, it's not good.
It's not good. But I don't, I don't even know that maybe Daniel never even had a thought of doing TV at the time. Like maybe when he was in contact with him writing this book,
no, he asked about it.
Oh,
he was talking to them about it because it was being optioned by people. Because this came out 2016, so it was out for a while.
Yeah, so it seems so weird to me that you don't let the little guy, but big huge company with dumb money wants to do it.
Right. Probably because they would have been directly tied to it instead of it being based off the book. And the kicker is people are going well, it's the history of Tetris. They should be able to make that movie. And I agree. The historical accurate stuff, that's open. I think, you make a film about an event. If it was public knowledge, that's that. But the fact that they took his speculation and research that he did, where he kind of thought, okay, well, it seems like this guy could have been a KGB agent. That was their guide. Nothing was ever proven from that. They don't have evidence of it, but it was very strongly suggested that could be the case. So he ran with it and wrote it in that style to be historical, but also a spy thriller, which is apparently exactly what the movie was supposed to be. Which, Stephen, you said you've watched it. Is that the case?
Yep. Down to the KGB agent. I guess they thought after 6 years, maybe he forgot.
Yeah, he just wrote a very popular book. He just forgot about it. Whoops, did I write that? Oh, man.
It's an homage to your book.
God, I hate that. It's an homage. I didn't steal from you. I just
took
homaged it.
Creative liberties.
Yes. I don't know. I'm curious to see if this lawsuit goes anywhere. But I think you're right, Stephen. We're just going to see Apple settling this to shut it up and move on.
I'm surprised Nintendo didn't have apparently didn't have an issue the way they were portrayed in there, because they were
really
hard asses in that, where Peter Main and Howard Lincoln and them were just cutthroat. And when they showed off the Game Boy, it was like they were building like Cyborg Superman. I was like, what is this? And they're like, this is our Game Boy. And they're like, oh my God. I'm like, it's not the Ark of the Covenant. What are you doing?
I mean, it was pretty popular. I don't know.
It was. To them, it was the Ark of the Covenant. just
With
without
melted
the
faces.
without the melted
I liked
faces
it
and
'cause
eyeballs rolling back.
I liked it because it was almost like a parody of Nintendo back then because they were cutthroat. You can only make 5 games and that's it.
Oh, Yamauchi was a beast with that stuff. Like,
And
he
they
would go
showed
after
him in there
everybody.
too, and they got
Oh,
stuff with him
really?
wrong. Yeah, they had him in there too, and they got stuff with him wrong where he's just like, "Oh, I like this. I'll make a deal." I was like, he doesn't make deals that
Yeah,
easily.
he did. No. Wow.
But it's definitely a good watch, especially if you have. Most places are giving you like a 3-month to 6-month trial of Apple TV. It's the
I need
only
to just
thing I've
do
watched
that.
on Apple TV so far,
Yeah.
and I just thought it was very well done.
I just don't want to pay for another streaming service. So
The
yeah, if I can watch it on there.
the only time I got Apple TV was when I was homesick with the big C, and they had a 3-month free trial because I guess that's just what was being offered at that time.
Yeah, streaming services with free offers during the big C, probably not their best move.
No.
Everyone's like, we're just going to keep swapping between them.
And I watched all of The Legend of Korra because that's the only place that it was on at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
I need to watch that. I have it on Blu-ray and just haven't got a chance to sit down and watch it yet.
It's very good. I need to start.
That.
I'm starting buying physical media again, actually.
Me too, after some of the crap they've been doing.
DVDs, Blu-ray. Oh yeah. Anytime I see a series I like or anything like that, I'm like, oh, do they have it on physical?
We're gonna buy the WandaVision Steelbook.
I was about to mention that. That's another big rich company doing stupid idea of a Steelbook release for WandaVision that comes with nothing.
Not even a digital code. Just you're
just getting a Steelbook case to put on your shelf. You don't actually get anything, and they're charging a good amount for it.
Wait, they're doing a Steelbook, but they're not. There's no
code. There's
literally
just
a
nothing.
Steel book.
And there's no movie. Wow. They'd make so much money if they put their stuff out physically. But I digress.
Once again, Pirate's Life. That's the only way those shows are going to be preserved. I mean, that's
so sad.
That's the only way you can go back and watch Loki eventually. That's the only way you can WandaVision. There's other shows they've taken down. Mind you, they're still asking for more money as they do this. All right. Moving on to our next bit of news here. So, after the passing of Lance Reddick,
so sad.
Yeah, that guy was absolutely amazing. I'm glad he at least got to finish his stuff for John Wick, but he will be missed in any future endeavors for that. But Bungie has made an announcement that Keith David will be taking over the role of Zavala in Destiny 2, starting with the Final Shape DLC and going from there.
The one and only choice.
I think for the
Why
unique
does his
voice
name
of both of
sound
them,
familiar? What has he been in?
Everything.
Okay, you need
so
to be a
many
little
things.
more specific, okay, Steven?
All right.
Trigger me, you know me well.
Yeah,
with Roddy Piper.
Did you ever watch Community?
Yes, a little bit.
Later seasons, they had the really smart. He was the black guy in the group, as they were calling it, kind of joking around with it. He was really smart during the whole RV thing. Had that real deep voice.
No, you lost me.
He's the Arbiter in Halo.
Nope, still lost.
He's the senator guy who tells Shepard where to go in Mass Effect.
I didn't play that. Okay, I play PlayStation stuff, so you can't tell me.
Okay, he was one of the main characters in Saints Row 1.
Hold on.
He's actually in a couple of them.
Okay, wait, I know who he is. Hold
great.
on. Hold on. Let me tell you what I know him from.
I'm very curious now.
Hold on. Hold the front door. Okay, keep talking about whatever stuff. I'll come back to it.
So I agree, Stephen, for a replacement for such a unique voice, he probably is one of the only choices I could think of.
Yeah, he went on a video and he even said he's honored and that people would even pick him.
Yeah.
They're loving it.
Okay, of all the things you could have mentioned, you didn't say Dr. Facilier of The Princess and the Frog.
I've never seen that.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, and why in the hell didn't you say that he was Goliath in Gargoyles?
Oh, yeah. I've only watched a few episodes of that.
Oh my God.
I'm 43.
I didn't like that show.
I'm closer to death. All right.
He was also the cat in Coraline.
Never
Oh,
seen
okay,
it.
no, you got me on that one. I should have remembered that one. He was really good.
I would have thought everybody would have got Arbiter from Halo.
I got it, but that was kind of beside the point. It's like, you've already got it. Shut up, move on.
And he always barked orders at me in Mass Effect 1, so I was like, I can't forget him.
He's so funny, though.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want a treat, watch that, what was it, 5-minute fight scene with Roddy Piper?
Oh, God, that's great. Oh, dude, he was in The Thing. Why did we not mention The Thing?
Yeah, The Thing. And he was also in quite guest walk-on roles and a bunch of different... been in a bunch of different things.
He's in everything.
He's everywhere.
The man deserves to be everywhere, and the man is everywhere. It's Keith David, ladies and gentlemen.
Keith David.
So, yeah, the voice will be a little bit different, but he also has that real, maybe baritone, the deep voice,
gravelly, yeah,
more unique voice. Because if you listen to between him and Reddick, like they're very they're not the same. I'm not saying they sound exactly the same, but they have that unique tone to their voices. So we shall see.
You can also hear him posthumously in that Invincible short story they did on Amazon too.
Oh, that's right. I think was that his actual last thing he did, or
last animated thing at least. Okay,
because I think John Wick was the last live action, wasn't it? Or did he have something else coming out?
I don't know. John Wick confused me because it reminded the Peacock series looked more like Kill Bill than John Wick, and because it's taking place in the 70s, they don't need to use him.
Right, they can just have another person take his place.
And so far they showed his character, but it was young.
Here's another fun fact: Keith David voiced Chaos in Dissidia Final Fantasy.
Oh, Jeremy would have known that. I wouldn't have. I've played a little bit, but I don't know the people in that game whatsoever.
And he voiced Spawn. Even in Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh my God, why did I not remember Spawn for him? Damn it. I am disappointed in myself now.
I'm disappointed just in general.
Spawn. He's so good in that. She's just still mad we haven't seen the Disney movie.
No, I'm more mad that y'all didn't watch more Gargoyles, because that slapped.
I've seen bits of it, and I plan on getting the game that's coming out for a limited run. I would like to watch it. It seems like a really good series, because I think that came out after Batman the Animated Series. Like, one pretty much led to the other for that art style, so nothing wrong with it. All right, well, we have a little surprise announcement that popped up. Quake 2 was just dropped yesterday on Nintendo Switch, PS4, PS5, and Xbox for $10.
It's like, surprise, shawty, here's the game.
So you get the original mission packs, the Reckoning and Ground Zero. You get the all-new expansion, Call of the Machines. Quake 2 64 is included. That's the entire Nintendo 64 version. Online and local multiplayer and co-op. Cross-play available. Motion aiming ready for the systems that support it. With a physical edition available to order from limited run games. And on Xbox Series X at least, this is crazy, you can do an 8-player split screen. Just 8 people just shooting the hell out of each other on Quake 2 on the same TV, on the same system.
On PS5, I think Xbox would be the same, but PS5 does allow up to 120 frames too.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that for the 8-player mode, but...
No, that would be insane. Then it's like,
why is my Xbox on fire?
They did say that if you already own it on Steam, you automatically get upgraded to the remaster.
What?
So you get that.
To check that.
However, the limited run version of the PC Collector's Edition, you do not get any sort of disc whatsoever.
Yeah, usually for PC games, they don't do that.
Which, when you see limited run, let's get physical, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's physical for the bonus stuff, but that's kind of the weird caveat. I never liked that.
But I have the first Quake for my Switch from limited run, so I'll get the
I looked. Apparently, I missed out on that one. But I found out it's available. I can get it on Best Buy for like $20, $25. So I
Not
might
bad.
try and
Not bad.
I might go ahead and get it. Because I think I had it digitally on Xbox, so I didn't bother ordering
there
the
is a
physical
sale
one.
going on, so if you want it digitally right now, it's $3 on
Yeah.
Switch and PlayStation and stuff.
I may already have both versions. That might be why. But that's kind of a fun little surprise. And I think that is a good way to get into our big question for this week. So we've got Red Dead Redemption coming out, basically a straight port with a few little touches here and there for $50, but you get 2 full big games. And on the flip side, you've got a complete remake of Quake 2 that's including also 2 full games plus some extra missions with Quake 2 and Quake 2 64. That's coming out for $10, at least for the digital. Physical, of course, I think is like 30, if I remember correctly, off the pre-orders.
35.
35. There you go. So is porting a game to newer systems good enough for many titles, or should the minimum be a full remake? So, who wants to field this first? Who's got some thoughts on it?
I'll go first.
Okay, go for it.
No, it should not be a full remake. I feel that there should be some quality of life improvements. By most of these collections, or even this one calling it remastered, is they're just kind of cutting off or fixing any little bugs or things they had in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're expecting them all to do a full remake, then guess what? It's going to be a lot harder to kind of, of the, 87% of games are still like lost to time and not available now.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to force even these little guys who just own the IP to be like, no, you need to make a remake, I don't want to hinder them. So if we want like a King Arthur's World to come out again, I'd rather them just release it as is, and maybe just make it so you could use a touchscreen or something like that, because you're not going to have a mouse for your Switch.
You knew exactly what game to bring up to get me on your side.
But it's one thing if the original assets were already HD and they're downgraded to fit on the capabilities of the console, like 3DS, and then we get Phoenix Wright on like iOS and it was HD, and then we bring it to Switch and PS4 and stuff. So I think there's good and bad things with porting, and again, it comes down to what did you do? Did you do anything to it?
Right.
If you just dragged and dropped the files onto like a folder to put it on the system, I don't know if I'm necessarily into that. Half the time I see a lot of companies like I want to say what's the name? I think it was like Qbyte or something like that, where they got some old games, and on digitally they started releasing one at a time, and it wasn't going very well, so they decided, no, we need to increase the value. So what they've done is they've either put them on physical cartridges for the original system it was on, like Super Nintendo, or they've released them as like a 3-pack. And digitally or not, I'm all for that, because at least now we have a digital representation. And sometimes it's not even a port. Hamster just gives you a nicer UI with their arcade archives. So
yeah, those are almost a remaster, just because all the stuff they're doing. It's cleaning it up. They'll include a remaster and the original, and yeah, Hamster's a whole thing on their own.
Yeah, you can switch the ROMs to be if it's the Japanese edition, American edition, because like they're releasing Kadash, which I'm so excited to play that on my Switch, because it's a really good RPG you could play in the arcades of all places that had leveling up and everything. And now I can play it on my Switch. So I was like, come on, let's bring that 87% at least down to 86.
All right. Rachel, what are your thoughts on this one?
So my answer is, well, it depends.
As it should.
So it's one of those things that it's like, prime example is the 7 remake. I do believe that like, I believe it was fine as it was. It was fine as it was, but I felt that if they were going to do anything more with it, they were going to have to remake it, because, and a lot of this comes from context. There was stuff at the end of the last game that they put out with it, because it was at the end of it. the original saga of Final Fantasy VII. It ended with Dirge of Cerberus, and there was kind of a weird cliffhanger as an after credits thing.
Okay.
Was that kind of pseudo promoting like other stuff going on? Yes, but the fact of the matter is they did not resolve that post credit scene. It was never resolved. There was no little like novella that came out after it. There was nothing at all.
I need to ask what that was.
What?
I'm actually not, what?
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, I don't mind.
So at the end of Dirge of Cerberus, if you got the like secret like ending like after credits thing, Vice is laying like dead, prone like this, essentially in a cave, and you get this burst of light, and who appears? Genesis Rhapsodos, and just picks him up. There's a wing and everything. One wing that comes out of his back and goes, "It's not yet time for slumber, my brother," and flies off with him into the sky. There's no explanation from
how the aerodynamics work with that
at all.
His planet needs him.
Well, there was no explanation at all,
right?
And couldn't, if you have context of what happened to him in Dirge of Cerberus, you're like, oh, that's where he was. Oh, that's and you put the pieces together. But where did he go? What was he going to do? Was there a resolution to this? No one will ever know. But we might, depending on what they do with remake.
Right.
And continue. So there was stuff kind of left to be resolved or totally retconned. And that's what I think they felt that they needed to do with this. They weren't completely eliminating, I feel, like the Seven Saga as a whole, but there was still story left to tell and a different way that they wanted to tell it. That they didn't get to do in its original form or anything that came after, not just due to technology, but also time constraints and development issues and all this kind of stuff. So I feel that if there's still stuff left for them to tell or story that they did not get to tell for whatever reason, I think in that light, it does necessitate a remake, because a lot of gamers today, not my age, but a lot younger, like teens and stuff like that, maybe early 20s. A lot of them don't really appreciate the retro. They don't appreciate older styles of gaming, older looking graphics and stuff like that. They want
my kids don't count.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they grew
up with me.
Yes, it depends on who raised you and who taught you and like really like brought about your love of gaming. It all depends on like that, but generally they want gratification now, and they want action and keep going and keep going and keep going. They either want the silliness of the instant gratification of things like Overwatch and Fortnite, or they want a good story that keeps them engaged. And
I can't say much. That's why I have trouble with RPGs. So
yes. So but other like RPGs, like say Baldur's Gate, keep you engaged because it's always has something going on.
Final Fantasy 16's been good at it.
Exactly. So they get it. Like game developers are kind of getting it. Like, okay, yes, it's okay for it to be a little bit shorter, or if it's going to be long, you have to keep them constantly engaged in some way. So I feel that when it comes to that, like one, there's either story still left to tell, story they didn't get to tell, or a different way that they want to tell it. I think with those different things in mind, and with today's technology, those kind of situations would necessitate a remake. But otherwise, I think it's fine to just port it. Good example of that is I would love for them to do a Final Fantasy VII style remake for Final Fantasy VIII. Will they ever do this? Probably not. But they did put a
it was an HD port.
Yeah, they put a nice HD port onto all the consoles. They cleaned it up real nice. It looks damn good. It plays wonderful. And I am always so jazzed to get to the ballroom scene and me not having to slam the X button and hope and pray to God that it doesn't crash.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Because it happened on like a very small percentage of like games, editions of the game, that this scene would just totally just bleh, for no apparent reason. Like it would just be like, it's freezing, hope and pray to God, slam that X button. But like I think
unintended minigame.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, in some situations, yes, you should do a remake. Do you have to? No. But I think like I wouldn't say necessarily, I wouldn't use the terminology good enough. I think it's really situational. Like it all depends on the story you're wanting to tell and the audience you're trying to bring it to. Like I think people, Final Fantasy VII's been ported until it's blue in the face. Have they done anything to it other than adding like other modes and stuff like that and cleaning up some things here and there? No. So this was a good opportunity for them and they knew it was going to be successful.
Right.
I think if you don't know if it's going to be successful, it's kind of risky, but
So I have a question. Do you think with some of these licenses, though, do you think they have with these IPs a statute of limitations of how long they have to use that title before they lose it? Or do you think that there's, anything in the deals of the sale when they take over these IPs that they need in order to, I guess, make a new one eventually, they have to reintroduce it? I'm
sure that happens sometimes.
I only asked because THQ Nordic had a showcase today.
Mm-hmm.
They showed off some great games, but one of them, which was particularly out of the blue, was they're remaking Gothic 1. And I was
Rachel just gets so happy.
And I was like, "Oh, you're first we got Enclave HD, and now we're getting suddenly a Gothic remake." And I was like, "Are you doing this because THQ, you own a lot of IPs right now, everything from South Park and then some." And part of me was like, maybe they didn't want to lose the South Park either because they announced a new game there. So I was like, is there a limit?
I think in some sense there is. Like, so some especially with like licensed games, like Square Enix is kind of weird because they don't have to worry about that because that's all their own stuff. But like other publishers maybe that have all kinds of different like contracts and stuff like that, there might be some kind of statute of limitations on it. You're right.
Yeah, the reason I think of that is because if you look it up, how many times did Nintendo file for I forget what they called it, like an IP revival for Eternal Darkness? They're like, please, nobody else can use that title. Please, nobody else can use that title. They kept renewing something, saying that was their game, so it couldn't go anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. I think that is partially a little bit of a factor.
Like, can it be abandonment?
It's kind of like in the movie world. If you look at like the Spider-Man license, Sony, when they made Spider-Man 1 and 2 with Tobey Maguire, the third, they made 1, 2, and 3. They were going to make the fourth one, but it was going to take too long of a time for them to do it. So they went ahead and rushed and did the Andrew Garfield one as to reboot it to kind of start the clock over. Yeah. It's the same reason we had that, if you can find it, absolutely horrible, but also funny to watch Fantastic Four movie that was never supposed to see the light of day. I will have to find you the stuff and send you this, Rachel. You will laugh your ass off. Honestly, though, the thing looks surprisingly good. Should not.
Oh,
I don't know how they pulled it off.
No, wait, hold on. Is that weird one with the kids?
No, that's just bad.
Which one you talk? Because I know
this one was made in the 90s.
I know
this was made in the and it was never, the people making it were never told that it was never going to see the light of day. But if they produced the movie, they would continue to have the Fantastic Four license, but they had to make something to do it. So they made this horrible movie, and it leaked out at like conventions and stuff like that. And I think I have a digital copy somewhere. It's so bad. But
That's
But that
so
happens
weird.
with licenses sometimes for
It
those.
does. Yeah, for sure. It does. Like,
So I could see it happening somehow with games. Like I'm sure that is just as
oh
valid
yeah.
for
I think
movies and books and stuff.
but it does play into my answer of, well, that depends. There's a lot
Right.
of there is a lot of factors, like a lot of factors. But I
Yeah.
think ultimately it's gotta be it's gotta be up to, like, it's gotta be up to the game creators. It's
Mhm.
gotta be up to whether, like, what measure, how successful they think it will be, and whether or not the timing is right for a remake, a revival.
Right.
Because if nobody's if nobody, like, say for example they decided to do this, the 8 remake. Let's just say they decided, well, hey, you know what, we're going to do
Mhm.
it. But nobody's interested in RPGs anymore. Do you think it's going to sell well? No.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll sell, but they won't get the numbers that they wanted. So I think there's a lot of factors that go into making
So
a decision.
So my answer in this, and part of the reason I wanted to actually have this, is I agree. It's going to be situational for that. But kind of in a roundabout way, the reason I brought up this question is because of how many people that I saw responses for online on Twitter and other places in regards to Red Dead Redemption with the $50 price tag and stuff. And I saw actual comments of, if it's not a remake, it should not happen. Like, if it's not a remake, it should not, you shouldn't even put it out. And my response to that was, so you played it already, so you want a remake, but you're perfectly fine completely making it never available again for all these other people that never got to play it. And Red Dead Redemption is a massive game. And on top of that, with Undead Nightmare, that's a huge, really good, acclaimed game that I think is more important to actually just make available to more people to play,
I
which
agree.
still confuses me on PC.
I
don't get
agree.
why
So
that's
I
not
agree with you, but
Uh-huh.
also, like, I think it also plays into the mind of the people that are asking for a full remake are asking it because they are so used to the graphics in Red Dead Redemption 2 that they struggle with the thought of going back or trying to play something that's less
I never liked
graphically.
the idea of going back, because by
Yeah.
that you could go back and look at the new Spider-Man movie and go, well, that doesn't look as clean
Oh yeah.
as this other movie. We should not go back to what is now an
Oh no.
award-winning
Imagine they
movie.
use that logic for movies. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense unless it's
Yeah.
a full remake.
Who the hell
But-
wants to watch Clerks? We're not going back to black and white.
Yeah.
You know, like,
But it's one of those things that it's like, I think, but I do think that plays into it though. I
but
really,
even on
really
that, look
do.
how popular pixel-based games are. That's
Yes.
going way back.
Yes,
And
exactly.
because by that logic, what's the RPG with the skull kid? Oh my god, it's super popular. I'm blanking on the name. Undertale.
Yeah.
Undertale is really going back. That's
Oh,
like
yeah.
Super Nintendo.
And also, if you want to look at shooters, Turbo Overkill just came
Mhm.
out,
Mm-hmm.
and it even has the voice of Duke Nukem as your little buddy, but he's not playing it as Duke Nukem. He's trying to be like just a funny, cute character. And you had Warhammer Bolt Gun, both games that are like pixel, almost borderline Minecraft voxel looking,
Yeah.
and they're doing gangbusters because everybody's like, "This is so much fun."
So, but go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I say, but my original argument for that was like denying the fact that people being able to play these games. I get some people are going to be very hard nosed about that. Just like you've got the people that are like, oh, if this game doesn't run at 120 FPS, we're not going to do anything. And we just got a disconnect. So we may actually end up losing the video after an hour and a half. We'll see.
Surprise.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So not every game needs to be a full remake. The accessibility of that title, I think, is more important in a lot of cases, especially bringing it in. And people need to get over the fact a port is not lazy.
No, it's
A
not.
port takes a lot, like, and I know you were just saying it kind of as a joke, Stephen, but like there are people that really think you just drag and drop from one format to another and it works. And I know it's not
where
actually
they
the case.
get that from because
because they're idiots.
I have a friend who tries to kind of critique ports and such. And when he found out stuff like, Carbon Engine from Limited Run is an emulator of sorts. Yes, fine.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it has to be.
that Super Mario All Stars collection on the Switch that came with the 3 games is running an emulator of those games.
Yeah, they have to.
And I'm like, well, yeah, because it has all the fixes to make them work on a newer system.
Yeah,
but
the
then
point of an
people
emulator
got
is to make
lazy,
a
and I was
device
just like,
play
that's
like another
not
device.
lazy. They had to optimize that. They couldn't just drag and drop it. So it's not lazy just because you found that it uses an emulator.
Right. It's like with the Wii Virtual Console. Every single game had its own emulator built in so it would run properly. It was tweaked and set up like that. And they did that for a lot of different things, and they still do it now.
Say, when you're saying stuff like good enough for many titles, I will add the fact that companies, especially you, Capcom, in the past, when you use porting a game to modern systems as a gauge if you want a sequel.
Oh yeah, no, screw that.
Do not do that. We lost Darkstalkers because Capcom said, well, not enough people bought Darkstalkers Resurrection. And we worked so hard on adding achievements and borders to it, and people, gosh darn it, didn't want to buy it, so I guess you didn't want a sequel. Well, I'm glad you didn't apply that logic to Street Fighter, or we wouldn't have made it to 4. Because 3 was one of the worst selling Street Fighters out of all of them, but went on to become a cult classic. So do not gatekeep your games by just being like, oh, if you want a sequel, buy this one that we released for you guys.
I need to go through specifically on my Switch collection and look at how many of those games are older titles that are basically just ported over, because the Switch has become like a lightning rod for older ports. I mean, do you guys agree?
Oh yeah.
Like with the stuff that gets announced constantly, you're just like, wow, I did not expect to see this again,
So I fully think that the best console to port older games to is the Switch. If it can't get on Steam and run on Steam Deck, it should be on the Switch.
Both?
Or both. Because a lot of older games and people playing them are people that are playing on portable devices. They're playing on their commute to work. They're playing on their lunch breaks. They're like older games are good to play in like short spurts, or they are short just by the nature of when they were made. Right. So a good place to put them is on a console that's portable. So
I think that's why you see a lot of Switch PC announcements. Like that's the only 2 systems it's coming for.
Yeah.
Well, like we have the Shadowrun collection, those older PC games that were brought over, and they're pretty much ports, kind of remakes, like stuff you would not expect to see.
Like during their financials, even Rockstar said the Grand Theft Auto trilogy on Switch was the second best seller of the trilogy. And I was like, well, there's only 3 that you can compare it to.
I'm sitting here like, when I saw that, I was like, y'all were surprised? You put GTA on Switch. Of course people are going to buy it. Just for the novelty of it.
Right? I mean, one of my favorite Grand Theft Autos is
go down on it. It's still $60 everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, and the physical cartridge is about useless, sadly. So yeah, like people automatically go, they were going to that whole thing of it shouldn't even be here if it's not a remaster. And I think we need to get over that mindset, because a port of a game is still accessibility for people to play it that a lot of other people, just because you may have been your favorite game and played it to death, it could be the first time they've ever even heard of it, or seen it. And I agree. A remaster, when it can be done, is way better. Like, Rachel, a good example, I think you would, I'm curious about your thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. What if we have an absolutely great remaster of it that was done? I love it. They updated the combat, everything about it. If that had never been, and you only got a good port of the PSP game to, say, the Switch, would you have accepted that?
Yes. You want to know why?
Because it was fucking great. That's why.
Well,
I love that game.
Well, here's why. Because it would have kept all the original voice actors.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, I'm
That's
not
why
getting
I
into
would have
that one.
preferred it because I
I
don't.
pulled a
I'm sorry
string.
because
I pulled her string.
I'm sorry I don't like the new guy. I have it. I have the game on Steam.
Bought it
But
twice. I have it on Xbox and Switch.
well, I should probably also get it on like console, but like so I can actually like play it the way I would prefer to play it. But it's just,
I did not mean to pull that string.
but also,
Completely unintentional.
like I've seen, so I've played it on an emulator with a copy of it that was slightly touched up,
Mm-hmm.
and it still looks aged because the game was developed to be played on a tiny, tiny screen and nothing else. And
But
they
damn, did it look
made
good on that PSP?
it did. But I'll tell you what, it really doesn't look good on anything else. Like I have the cord that you can connect your PSP to your television and
Mhm.
play it on your TV screen. Oh, that was
if you ever get a
so
chance to do
scary.
that on a CRT,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised at how good it looks.
Oh yeah, no. Like that looks like I've seen that done. I did that at a friend's house. That looked
Mhm.
great. But when I tried to put it on one of my flat screens,
Yeah.
ugh, like
I'll have to send you
jump
some of the
scare.
footage I've actually scaled and recorded because they actually made filters for PSP specifically that would make it full screen and look a lot better. I'll have to send you some shots from that.
Yeah, game companies, if you're listening, please, when you're remaking or giving us collections, never, ever give us the option to turn scan lines on. It's horrible. It doesn't work. It's artificial, and it's wrong.
I've seen a few
Thank
times
you
it's
for coming
been
to my
done
TED
halfway
Talk.
decent, but most of the time, yes, I agree.
That is the also the one that makes it like you're watching it on like a department store TV where everything's rounded, and I'm like, no, I
Yeah,
don't want
that's
fisheye lens. Come on.
yeah, that's a weird one. I don't know why that's still an option sometimes. All right. Well, anyways, we'll go ahead and wrap this show up. Just over an hour and a half. I think we've managed to whittle down the show to a reasonable amount of time now. I think we're doing good with this weekly thing.
I don't know what's going on with my TV screen, but
Yeah, Rachel's just moving everything. We're just seeing her like grab the camera and moving things around.
it keeps like I have a TV mounted above like where my my computer screens are.
Yeah.
And the mount keeps going like this. And I'm like, what are you? You're tight. You're
tired of looking at you.
Like you're
no.
not doing anything. Why do you keep turning weird? So now I'm gonna have to like take it out, like, and like I don't know, tighten something. I don't know what's going on with it, but I know it's not coming off the wall. But it's just ugh.
Well, we'll go ahead and wrap this up then, so Rachel can fight with her TV screen. But before we go, we'll get you to tell us where we can find you. So, Rachel, starting off with you, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on all of my social profiles at Outrageous. It's OUT_RACHEOUS. That's literally where I am on ye old Twitter, the Instagrams, Threads. That's my username. The only difference is on Twitch, it's that same thing, but there's no underscore because it wouldn't let me. So yeah. But I'm like I said, I'm currently streaming Spider-Man PS4. So if you want to see me web around New York City, flying around at the speed of whatever the fastest spider in the world is, yeah, I'll be playing that at some point, I guess this weekend, maybe on Sunday after I finish my laundry. But yeah, that's where you can find me, my silly, silly little self.
So just to answer, that would be called a Moroccan flick-flack spider, or Sabrinus reckenbergi, which can travel up to speeds of up to 1.7 meters a second or 3.8 miles an hour trying to escape predators. I had to look that up after you mentioned it because you know what? That's a weird thing to say.
I think Spider-Man actually swings on his web faster than 30 miles an hour. So
yeah, so that's 3.8. So you're doing quicker.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Steven, where can we find you on the internet?
You can no longer find me on Twitter. You can only find me on X.
Oh, you
at loading_time. I'm lurking around on X, to see how things are going. Things are going around. That's all pretty much right now as I kind of tinker with the other social channels to see how things go.
All right. Well, I've been your host, Jeremy Powers. You can find me over on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads at Zenspath.com. Over on Twitter, Hive, and Discord at Zenspath. And then over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zenspath. And finally, you can watch the video version of this if you're listening on the audio at youtube.com/ZenspathCom. And then if you're watching this and you'd like to actually get the audio version, you can check us out over at Apple Podcasts. No longer at Stitcher, because I think they're finally dead. Spotify, pretty much anywhere you can get your podcasts, or at zenspath.libsyn, LIBSYN.com. All right, this has been episode 97, and we're out.
Port Snatcher, you cowards!
I want to play that. I tried.